This time I would like to hand the mic over to Mike Buckle, Canada Patriot, who has helped me with today and getting the organization. Mike?
Thank you very much, Josephine. As Josephine said, my name is Mike Buckle and I'm with Canada Patriot. And I'm here to introduce some special guests today here on Canada Flag Day. But I'm especially very proud to be here at the Legion and especially in Cobourg. And I'd like to just make one quick thank you to Mr. Andrew Hall with the downtown DBIA Cobourg. It's because of him that Cobourg can actually say they're one of the most patriotic towns, communities in all of Canada that are flying all these beautiful flags, over 100 of them that fly downtown Cobourg. So thank you, Andrew. So our first presentation will be Mr. Adam Moulton. He's the Conservative representative for Peterborough South and representing the federal government that will present the Canadian flag today, and also give a short story about the Canadian flag on shore. So Adam?
Thank you, Mike. Well, before we get underway, I just want to take a quick moment here to recognize some of the dignitaries that are with us today. We have Senator Smith that is with us today, Legion Branch 133 President Josephine Upton, Legion Zone F2 Commander Don Ramsey, Travis Hoover representing the provincial government, and Mayor Gil Brocanier representing the town of Cobourg. It's an honor to speak with you on this special occasion. Since 1965, the red and white maple leaf has been the most significant symbol of our identity and source of inspiration and pride for us all. These days, it is almost impossible to imagine the maple leaf not being a definitive Canadian symbol. However, as many of you will remember, the choosing of this flag was a contentious one. Many people saw this as a change separating us from our past, from a set of traditions and values that many died to uphold. These fears were not insignificant. Up until 1965, Canada's sons had fought and died under a different flag, and many people felt that it was a betrayal to change what had already existed for 100 years. But the decision was made 50 years ago, and Lester B. Pearson gave a speech inaugurating the symbol. In that speech, he assured Canadians with these words, "We salute the future, but we honor the past upon which the future rests." The fear that a new flag would separate us from our traditions has not materialized. 50 years later, the monarchy is as popular as ever, and we are proud of our place in the Commonwealth, and we again have a Royal Canadian Navy and a Royal Canadian Air Force. This flag represents the greatest country on earth. In the minds of billions of people, it represents prosperity and success. To the hundreds of thousands of people who become Canadians every year, it represents a new identity. To those of us who have lived here our whole lives, it represents the very concept of home. The 50th anniversary of the national flag is a milestone that allows Canadians to reflect on our flag and what it represents. A strong, proud, and free country that is admired and respected around the world. During these moments of reflection, it is essential that we remember those who have fought and died for what our flag represents. The veterans that are with us today are among the more than 1.5 million Canadians who have served in military conflicts in dozens of countries around the world. More than 116,000 Canadians have given their lives in combat for Canada and the cause of freedom since the beginning of the First World War. By remembering those who have served, we look towards the future they fought so hard to protect. A future that includes and nurtures freedom. That means enjoying our rights, and it also means taking our responsibilities as citizens very seriously. One of those responsibilities is to protect vulnerable people from evil ones. That is what Canada has always done throughout the world. That is why we are conducting airstrikes against ISIS. Because to be Canadian is to take responsibility not only for ourselves, but the global community that we live in. And we have done that from the forests of Germany to the mountains of Afghanistan. If ever we try to avoid these responsibilities, we should be under no illusion. If Canada wants to keep its voice in the world, being a free rider means that you are not taken seriously. As the old song goes, freedom isn't free, You've got to pay a price. You've got to sacrifice for your liberty. On this, the 50th anniversary of the flag, we must remember that what it represents comes at a cost. Millions of people around the world long to live their lives under the maple leaf. We must never forget that it is their blood and hard work that has made this country so great. When we honor and celebrate the flag, we are honoring and celebrating them. And I guess Travis Hoover will be up next, but I don't know if I'm supposed to hand it over to Josephine or you want to hand it over to Travis. Mike?
Thank you, Adam, very much. Well said. And also with us to present the provincial flag to the Royal Canadian Legion is Travis Hoover, representing MPP Lou Rinaldi. Nice to have you here today, Travis.
It's my pleasure to be here today on behalf of your Member of Provincial Parliament, Lou Rinaldi, and the Province of Ontario, and join with you on this honourable occasion, the celebration of the 50th anniversary of both the flags of Canada and Ontario. Since 1867, the red maple leaf has been used by Canadian athletes and troops as an emblem on their uniforms, and making it one of the most admired and recognizable symbols throughout the world. The symbol continues to be a source of Canadian pride and national identity. It's understandable why it was incorporated into each of the 3 final designs before the current design was chosen by a parliamentary committee and appeared officially on this day 50 years ago. It was only a few weeks later that the province of Ontario adopted the familiar red ensign with golden maple leaves as its official provincial flag. That iconic image provides a certain comfort to all who arrive in Canada after traveling outside of our country and seeing the red maple leaf flying high with our Ontario flag taking its place to its left. I'm honored to present this flag of Ontario to Cobourg Branch 133 on this most historic occasion.
Thank you, Travis. Now we have the Mayor of Cobourg, Mr. Gil Brocanier, who will, I'm proud to say, like I said earlier, is representing one of the most patriotic communities in all of Canada. Should be very proud.
Well, thank you very much, Mike, and it is a pleasure for me to be here today and represent Cobourg in this very, very important celebration and ceremony. And as Mike has said, we know that we have a long and proud history in Cobourg of serving our country. Mike asked me if I knew of any particular individual who was a native of Cobourg that had made a significant contribution. And I do. I know of a person, and I think I should just maybe tell you the story of this person. His name was Francis Patrick Duffy, and he was born May the 2nd, 1871, and died on June 27, 1932. He was a Canadian-American soldier, a Roman Catholic priest, and a military chaplain. Francis Duffy was born May the 2nd, 1871, in Cobourg, Ontario, Canada, and attended St. Michael's College in Toronto. He immigrated to New York City, where he taught for a time at the College of St. Francis Xavier and was awarded a master's degree. Now, Duffy served as chaplain for the 69th Infantry Regiment, known as the Fighting 69th, a unit of the New York Army National Guard from New York City, whose soldiers were largely drawn from the city's Irish-American and immigrant population. He served in the Spanish-American War in 1898, but it is his service in the Western Front on France during World War I, 1917 and 1918, for which he is best known. Duffy, who typically was involved in combat and accompanied litter bearers into the thick of battle to recover wounded soldiers. For his actions in the war, Duffy was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross and the Distinguished Service Medal, the Conspicuous Service Cross, the Legion d'Honneur from France, and the Croix de Guerre. Father Duffy is the most highly decorated cleric in the history of U.S. Army. The northern half of New York City's Times Square between 45th and 47th Streets was named in his honor, and to this day contains a statue of Francis Duffy. So I think he's made a significant contribution, and I think, with it being, I think I chose him because we're currently in the 100th year celebration of that war, that First World War, 1914 to 1918. So now, having recognized him, and I think appropriately because of his legion, I'd like to present the flag of Cobourg to Josephine Upton.
Thank you very much, Adam, and I guess there's several reasons why I'm here in a way. But first of all, let me just say, I really kind of live in three places. My primary residence, I have to confess, is in Toronto, right downtown in Yorkville. But I've owned a home on Bagot Street for 25 years. It's the last one on the street. It says Fisherman's Cottage, and we just love it. And also in Ottawa, because I've been, I live in three places. But a few years ago, another senator came to the Senate, and his name was Smith too. And when you have two people in the Senate with the same name, then you have to have the name the place that you're from. So the clerk of the Senate says to me, so I guess from now on it'll be Senator Smith, Toronto. I thought about it for a couple of seconds and I said, no, it will be Senator Smith, Cobourg. And so, because, my heart's here in a big way. So 93 Bagot. Now, another reason why this means a lot to me is that day in 1965, the first time that flag went up the pole, I was there. I was sitting there. I watched it go up the pole. It was very emotional. I was pretty young. I was 23 years old, so you can figure out how old I am now, because that was 50 years ago. And I was working with Lester B. Pearson. I was a kid. I graduated from university and was going to go to law school, and they said, no, you got to come take a year off. I'll make you the national director of the Young Liberals. You go coast to coast every month. I didn't get ready for the election, so I was there. Mr. Pearson was as fine a man as you ever knew. Originally, he was pushing for that flag that had the three things in it, the three maple leaves in it in different colors. But at the end of the day, what happened was that the NDP didn't sort of like that version, and I think the one that came through was in fact the right one. I'm on the Foreign Affairs Committee and do a lot of traveling all over the world with the World Bank and other reasons like that, and I can't tell you, when I go to some city, and next week I got to go to Indonesia and Singapore and these places, the minute I go to an embassy or an ambassador's home, and I see that flag flying, it almost makes me cry. It is so moving. And I remember sitting there that day when the flag went up that pole, and how proud I was to be a Canadian. And believe it or not, I was a kid, but because I was Mr. Diefenbaker, I got to know him pretty well because he kept trying to prove we were related and all this. But Diefy was pretty upset about it. When the flag went up the pole the first time, he looked away. He just couldn't bring himself to look at it. But my father was in the First World War, and today I filled out my form and I've joined the Legion here. And I'm looking forward to it. But I want to say that when I travel abroad, the more I do, and I've been doing it for 50 years, I'm just prouder every day to be a Canadian, and I'm proud to see that flag wherever I see it. Amen? This is Sunday, I can say amen.
Amen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, fellow members of the club.
He keeps wanting to call me sister. I think he thinks I'm a nun. I hate to disappoint. But I want you to stay here, David, because I have something, well, it makes me emotional, so I'm going to make you emotional too. Mary,